Hi, welcome back to the Wet Pastel channel. I am Pastelist Avon Waters, and I'm here to help you learn about wet pastel techniques, art theories, color theory, and composition. I'll have a whole series on composition this upcoming year. But today, I've got something special. Today, I'm going to show you how to travel with your paints, your pastels, and what not to pack. So we're going to go through the various things so that you can travel with your art supplies. A quick word, if you're liking the content, please hit the subscribe button. That will go a long way for others to see this. At least hit the like button, and that lets more people see it. It gets higher up on the listings. I'm going to start first with the MSDS sheets. Those are the material safety data sheets. I want to talk to you about those MSDS sheets, those data sheets, and how to pack those so that if you get stopped, that you'll be able to go through the customs or the inspections at the airport or train station or even on a ship. Then I want to talk to you about what if you get challenged at a port or an airport. What are some of the things to look for, some of the things to ask that would be important for you. And lastly, let's talk a little bit about what to expect when they do challenge you. So let's get started. Let's get you on board that airplane, let's get you on that train or off to sea. So here we go. I have printed out 3 different MSDS sheets, the materials data safety information for 3 different products. And I'm going to go over these 3 sheets with you so that you'll see what I'm talking about. This first one, because we're pastelists, or many of us are, this first one is for Richardson pastels. Now, every manufacturer has to create these MSDS sheets. These sheets are a legal document that they fill out because once they manufacture all these products, they have to ship them all over the world. Well, that's no different than when you get ready to ship yourself and your pastels. So each one of these sheets has many different sections. And once you go into Google, and whatever product that you have, if it's turpentine, if it's Gamblin oils or Rembrandt oils or Rembrandt pastels, I happen to print out Richardson's hand-rolled pastel data sheet. I use a lot of Richardson. All right, now for you pastelists, you're in luck until you get to the wet solvents that we use to create wet pastels. Soft and medium hard and hard pastels pretty much are innocuous. They're not going to have a lot of hazards. So every one of these sheets has a different section. And what you want to look for, and this one is 13 pages long for Richardson, and the reason it's 13 pages is because they list all their colors on about the last 8 or 9 pages, and every one of the colors is made in such a way that they can list it under the same hazardous material ratings and the same shipping ratings. To give you an idea what to look for in the shipping section, we have here a Gamblin. When I do oils, I like to use this Gamblin solvent-free. The solvent-free is made out of a safflower oil and Acroyd painting material. Now, so for that particular product, Gamblin has a separate data sheet. It's not like pastel where a bunch of colors are rolled into 13 pages. And when we look at section 14 of the data sheet lists, and I'll do a close-up here, but it lists for land, which is Department of Transportation, it lists for the sea, IMDG, and it lists for the air rating, IATA. And all 3 of these show not regulated. So this particular product by Gamblin, unlike their Gambasol or Turpenoid or turpentine, unlike those products, this solvent-free is rated to be put into your luggage. Do not carry it in your carry-on because the fluid, they would consider this gel a liquid and you would get in trouble and have to throw it away. I printed out another one for Winsor Newton distilled turpentine, essence of turpentine. And look right here, see that little hazardous material sign? This is under the transportation. And whenever you see a placard, a hazardous material placard, some of them will say it cannot be shipped by air, it cannot be shipped by this or that method. And whenever you see a placard like this and flammable, that means the flame, the temperature of vaporization and combustibility is too great for packing in your airline. So when you get ready to travel with oil paints, your oil paints, most of them are going to be able to be packed in your luggage. You print out the MSD sheets, just like I have here. And the best thing to do is find the part where it says transportation and for air and put a highlight on that. So when you get ready to pack, put all your oils, don't bury them underneath a bunch of clothing. Put all your oils in an area so that when the bag is unzipped, that if you're inspected, even if you turn your bag in, somebody's going to x-ray that and they're going to pull that out. So they may say, oh, wait a minute, what are these? You have different levels of training at an airport or a port of train and sea ports. And that training, they're luggage handlers. Okay, somebody's going to scan it. The TSA is behind the scenes with running the scanners, and they may or may not be as well trained in every chemical that they run across, every tube of paint that they come across. And you cannot send latex house paints through your luggage. But you can artist paints if the MSD sheet says that they meet the standard for air, train, or sea. So print these out, highlight it, stick it with a big sign. If you know the language that you are traveling to, like I go to South America, so I put a sign that says MSDS data sheets in English, and then I say it in Spanish. And that way, if it's behind the scenes after you've checked your luggage, you open it up, or they open it up, and they see that, oh, these are the data sheets, and it's wrapped up with a rubber band in what they're inspecting. So, and I've got it highlighted of what the air transportation rules are. Now I also go through and I highlight some of these sheets. They vary from manufacturer to manufacturer just a little bit, but they also have flashpoint data. And many times somebody is trained to look for, oh gee, is this MSD sheet, can it be by air, train, or plane, or whatever you're doing. But somebody else might look for the flash point because they know what flash points to look for in data material. Now, a quick little side note. Many people ask, you know, how toxic are pastels? But the other information that's available on these sheets, which many people ask me about, especially with pastels, people ask me about this, is are they toxic? And here's the Richardson sheet. Precautionary handling and storage. This particular product, every one of these products, no matter every one of your art supplies, will have information about safe handling. And interesting enough, Richardson data sheet says that no ventilation, no glove handling, there's just no toxic effects from these unless it's ingested or respirated from the dust. So what I've been saying, what I've been told about pastels being very safe, that's a perfect example of it. And if you're in doubt, pull up your MSDS sheet for the products that you use. Maybe not every manufacturer is the same as Richardson. I also want to point out that when you are thinking about safety and fire hazards, there's hazards, and I'll do a close-up here, but this is the Gamblin sheet. It says the health hazards here for Gamblin. This is the solvent-free gel. May cause redness or irritation, may cause rash, cracking, dryness, deflating of the skin. Ingestion may cause nausea, gastrointestinal irritation or vomiting. Inhalation, none. So you can also use these MSD sheets, if you're not traveling, as a way to handle your products more safely. There's a section also in every one of these about fire hazards and what a fire, if a fire were to break out, then what not to use and what to use to fight that particular fire. If you've just got a standard fire extinguisher in your studio, you may want to re-examine and see what materials possibly could catch fire that you might use that extinguisher for, and make sure you've got the right one. Now, what if at the luggage or the terminal you are stopped? I've been stopped, and I can tell you one thing to expect. I've been stopped, and I was setting up my studio, and I took down a stack of these colors, both Richardson and this particular brand, which is Rembrandt, and I took these brand new boxes of pastels stacked up in my suitcase, and I had the MSDS there. But at the customs, you always take your luggage, and you always have to put it on a x-ray belt if they tell you to at random or whatever. But I've always been stopped going into Colombia, South America with art supplies. What to expect, okay? In this little box, if you ever open brand new pastels up, in this foam are all these little pastels all in a row. Okay, imagine on an x-ray machine where all you see is just almost a black and white or a monotone image, all these rows, and then stacked on stacks on stack of one another. What does that look like? It looks like a 45 caliber or a 50 caliber bullet casing. And that's what it looks like on the x-ray machine. So expect to get stopped because they are all excited about, what's this? A cache of arms and weapons and bullets? And then they open it up and they see it's this. I had to open one of these to prove that, you know, this is in the cellophane. I had to open one to prove that they were actually not bullets packed up in here. But as soon as they saw it, everybody backs off, zips it up, and kind of motions you on. So again, I had these stacked in there. They didn't even look at these because they were more interested in what these all stacked up looked like on that x-ray machine. So hopefully that gives you some idea about how to travel and how to prepare to travel and get in and out of train stations, seaports, and airlines. The one thing I didn't talk about that I want to bring up here is if you are challenged, you can ask for a supervisor because, again, the amount of training that an individual has at these stations is sometimes questionable. You could ask for a supervisor. Whatever you do, don't get belligerent. They have the guns. They have the authority. If somebody wants to throw these things away and insist that you are wrong and they are right, there's not much you can do about it. Otherwise, you create a disturbance, and that in itself is against the law at many of these locations around the world. So bite the bullet, not this kind of bullet. Bite the bullet and accept whatever they say, but if you go prepared and you ask for a supervisor to review your MSDS data sheets, and if you speak the language, that's even better. But if you can do that, that will save you maybe losing several $100 or $1,000 worth of materials because somebody is totally unknowledgeable. There's those stories out there, and I'm sure it's happened. But if you do what I've said, you shouldn't have too much of a difficulty getting through. And it goes with the oil paints. Another thing to say is that when you start, even though these things are called oil paints, and they on many of the data sheets are called oil paints, if you watch your language and your terminology and you say artist colors, you say artist colors, artist supplies, artist pigments. The word oil, sometimes people stop listening and all they hear is the word oil and they go, oh, oil is not allowed on an airplane. But if you got the data sheets, and even if the data sheet calls it an artist oils, what they're looking for, once you get them to look at that data sheet, what they're looking for are the transportation restrictions. So in your own language, clean it up. Be sure to say artist colors, artist supplies, artist pigments. Try to stay away from the words oils and paints. Those are two kind of red flags that unless you get them to look at those data sheets, you may just stop them from listening. So hopefully that helps you also figure out some studio safety using these data sheets. And again, just Google whatever color you've got, whatever brand you've got, Rembrandt burnt sienna oil MSDS data sheet, and it will bring up those data sheets for you to search through. A quick word, if you're liking the content, please hit the subscribe button. That will go a long way for others to see this. At least hit the like button, and that lets more people see it. It gets higher up on the listings. So until next time, take care, happy painting, and safe travels with those paints and art supplies. Bye-bye.